So guys, it's finally done. It is finally done. Beer, 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 beer. Hello everybody, welcome back to me, Mate Brewski, for not Brewski Review. No, it's not that at all. I'm here to talk to you guys about my very first beer. Very first homebrew, proper equipment. You've seen the videos, the making of it, the bottling of it, and now we get to taste it. I'm going to be completely honest, this isn't the first time I'm having it. There's actually not many bottles left out of the 21 that I got bottled, so that's a thing. And I've been home for 3 days, so they're going pretty darn quick. We got it in just a regular 350 ml bottle, no label, gold cap though. I got to choose the cap. I wanted gold because why not? Looked a lot better than silver. So without further ado, let's crack this bad boy open because I don't know the alcohol on it. I don't know the IBUs on it. And yeah, because the gravities, I forgot to check original gravity, and then I didn't do final gravity properly because I'm not the smartest sometimes. But hey, we'll figure it out. I'll take it to the school, distill it, and try to, get it all said and done. But we got a Royal City glass because it's the one with the least branding, and it's fairly small because it's not a lot of beer. It's only about 355. So let's pour this bad boy up. It is a brown ale. I'm calling it Honest Brown because Andre, my brother, had mentioned to me that it had a very honest flavor. It's an honest flavored beer, which is pretty cool. Looking at it, it is brown indeed. So I think I got the color pretty spot on. It's a medium to dark brown, nice lightly tanned head on there. You can't see, you can see through it a little bit. It is fairly on the darker side of things, but not too shabby. But yeah, it's worked out quite well so far. Let's dive in. Let's see what's happening. Let me explain to you what I've brewed and how it smells, how it tastes, all that fun jazz, and I'll let you know what went into it, how it got done. I'll wrap things up. So let's just dive right in. On the nose, not as nutty as I thought it was going to be. Definitely a bit more brown sugar, molasses, slight milk chocolate, no roastiness to it though. Dark toffee, maybe some caramel, but not a lot of nuttiness. Yeah. Definitely not a nut brown, but still a solid aroma. No offensive flavors, which is awesome. Didn't get oxidized in the bottle during the bottling process, which is nice. No buttery popcorn, no diacetyl, no corn, no weird bacterial aromas or anything. It's spot on to what I was aiming for. A chocolatey, I was hoping a little bit more nuttiness to it, but hey, that's fine. But chocolatey, toffee sort of style of beer, brown ale. It's a beautiful thing. Let's just shut up and dive in. Now on the sip, it's pretty sweet still, but it's got a nice little earthy bitterness in the back. Due to the hops, I'm fairly certain, because it's kind of what happens. But yeah, light molasses, some toffees, some earthiness out of it as well. Slight nuttiness in the flavor, I want to say. Not really much on the nose, but there's a slight bit of nuttiness, almost like hazelnutty kind of thing going on, which is actually pretty cool. It's the first time I'm actually really diving in and seeing how this happened. Wow, I'm pretty proud of myself. So with that said, guys, cheers everybody. Let's keep on drinking. Yeah, molasses, toffees, chocolate, like caramel chocolate, slight hazelnutty to it, and then ending on a yeah, earthy bitterness, which actually really picking up those hops. Those were pretty good bitterness and flavor of bitterness going for it. I'm pretty proud of this thing, to be honest. I didn't know it was going to turn out this well. I shared a couple with my friends Chris and Richmond. They absolutely loved it. I should have got their reactions on camera. I was kind of just wanting to live in the moment at the time, so no footage of that. But there is a clip that Chris did on Snapchat with us cheersing. No audio there, but I'll insert that probably here. And then Andre tried it, my parents tried it, they really enjoyed it. My dad doesn't really like stouts or dark beers, but you know what, he really enjoyed this brown ale. Thought it turned out quite nicely indeed. Yeah. Now, one thing I want to point out about it, or one thing that I don't like about how it turned out, is the carbonation. It is very low carbed. I didn't do math, but I went to Brewer's Friend, and I went to their carbonation calculator. I said, this is how much beer I have. I have about 2 gallons of it. I'm looking for about 2.1 volumes of carbonation. How much priming sugar do I need? Give me a number. I don't remember what that was, but it's easy to find online. I put it in, got my sugars, got the dextrose, boiled it, put it into the bottling bucket, then added the freshly fermented beer, and then kind of just transferred it. Did a mix, hopefully mixed it up the best I could, transferred it over. So carbonation seems to be the thing where I'm not too sure on how to exactly get it down to a science. Maybe if anybody knows, do I put in the priming sugar into each bottle individually? Or is it best to do it the same way I did it, where you put it in the bottling bucket, throw your beer on top, mix it up, and then transfer it into bottles? I would like some help on that. That would be much appreciated for sure. So yeah, it's fairly close to being flat. There is a very light amount of carbonation, but not nearly as much as I hoped there would be. Because like I said, this beer still is a little sweeter than I had hoped, but it's not overly sweet. It's not cloyingly sweet. I think with that extra bit of carbonation, or at least the appropriate amount of carbonation, would bring in some more of that carbonic acid, that little bit of bite, cut through that sweetness just a touch more, and then really turn out to be a beautiful thing. But damn, for a first try, I'm pretty damn proud. The worst part about this, at least home brewing and doing YouTube and doing these videos, is that I can't share my beer with you guys physically. I can't bottle a beer and send it out to you guys. That's just not possible. There's at the bottom of it. It's unfiltered, so there is a good amount of sedimenty yeastiness, which is now clouded up the beer a little bit more. Yeah, there's some sedimentation in there now, which is fine because, well, it's home brewing and I don't have a proper filter. Maybe if I use some finings, could be better, but I think this is just yeast particles and whatnot. I tried to get as much trub out of it, but sometimes it just happens. Looking into more of the technical things, because some of you are probably wondering, how the hell did I brew this? Well, gave you a little bit, or at least a good in-depth, hopefully in-depth thing of when I was actually brewing it, but I did write down some stuff in this brew journal that I got from my parents a few years back. Finally can actually use it, which is awesome. We have here the Deuce, I originally called it Deuce Home Brown Ale, but I think Honest Brown is probably a lot better. Batch size was going for 2.5 gallons, turned out to be 2, but that's just fine. For the malts that I used Maris Otter. I used 4 pounds of Maris Otter. I used Crystal 60, which was 8 ounces, 4.8 ounces of flaked oat, and 3.2 ounces of chocolate. So about 5 pounds in total, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, almost 5 pounds. It's like 4.5 pounds, right? Yeah, it was like 4.5 pounds-ish or something like that. I don't remember. But yeah, there we go. There's the poundage. For the hops, I use East Kent Goldings and Fuggles. I use East Kent at the 60-minute mark, at the 40-minute mark, 10-minute mark, and East Kent Golding at 60-minute and 10-minute marks, and then Fuggles at 40 minutes and 5 minutes. Mashed it at 70 degrees Celsius, held the temp between 66 to 68, cooled the wort to 21 when it was all said and done, and fermented at between 68 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 weeks. Also, that coolness was 21 degrees Celsius. Yeah, so a little bit difference of numbers, but I was going for around like 20 some in the ferment. The yeast that I used was English Ale S-04. I used a pack of that. And that was it. 60-minute mash, 60-minute boil. Very straightforward. Turned out pretty darn good. I'm gonna see if I can throw up a recipe onto Brewers Friends. If anybody else wants to try this out that does home brewing, you can try it out, see how it goes, see what you think. Give me pointers. But I think it's turned out pretty nice. It's not a heavy beer by any means. It's definitely more on the light. I'd say definitely like moderately bodied. It's not heavy. It's not ridiculously light, but either. It's just a happy middle ground, which I was kind of aiming for. I was aiming for different things with this beer, and it seems to hit every one of them almost perfectly on that first try. Maybe it's beginner's luck, I don't know, but it turned out well. It's smooth, it's not slick, it's not sticky. I wish there was a bit more carbonation, but it turned out pretty well. The flavor on it, molasses, nuttiness, light chocolate on there, caramels and toffees, slightly biscuity as well, and then moving into that nice right at the end of it, a nice earthy bitterness. You know what? I just gotta make sure next time I check the ABV, because that's a very important thing to know when you're dealing with beer. And other than that, just make sure that that I get the right amount of sugar in there for carbonation. And I think we're right as rain. I think this recipe right here is something I'm definitely going to move forward with in the future and keep this. This was more or less my test batch for the final project for this semester at school, which is to brew a beer from scratch and brew as a target. So I'm gonna bring this to class after the reading week. Have some classmates taste it. Have one of my teachers try it out. Get some feedback from their end, and then move forward from there. Tweak some things here, change some things there. I don't know, but it's coming together quite beautifully. Very pleased with it. Very pleased indeed. One thing Andre said about it yesterday when we were talking is that it's not a beer where you can just chug it. You don't want to chug it because the flavors are pretty damn good. But also it's not a super heavy beer where it's going to take you some time to either finish it or at least it's going to slow you down. So it's a nice happy medium, he said, as far as beers go, and then as far as beers that he's had as well. So that was really good to hear, where it's not a slow sipper, it's not a fast chugger, it's just a beer you can sit down and enjoy at a reasonable pace, and enjoy whatever you're doing at the time. I like where the flavors are at. I think the ratios of malts, of all the different kinds of malts, the times that I put in the hops, I think that's worked out quite well. That bitterness on there, that earthy bit coming through, is actually a really good addition. I did not know how that was going to work out at the timing of the hops, because I didn't know what timing would be best. I kind of just eyeballed it in a sense. But yeah, it's worked out quite well indeed. I'm pretty happy with it. I think that's more or less it, guys. I mean, I can't give this beer a rating. It's my own beer. I would love to say it's a 10 out of 10. It's definitely not a 10 out of 10. But is it damn good? That it is. Is there a lot of yeast sedimentation at the bottom? Yes, there is. Do I wish I had a filter? Yes. How do I fix this? I'm not too sure yet. But I will hopefully find out a solution to this, because this is a lot for a beer, but quite a bit for a brown ale. It's not Sparkle Puffs. It's not Sparkle Puffs levels of floaties. But for a brown ale, it's quite a bit of yeasty material, which is fine. Which is just fine. Now, with that said, guys, cheers on the final sip. We're not doing ratings. I'm just gonna enjoy. Try to not get all the yeasty bits in there. They're a little chunky on the bottom. But yeah, that's the beer. I got a few left. Not as much as I hoped. I only got 21 355 ml bottles out of it. So next time, which I should be brewing again this week as you're watching it, brew something else up. See how that goes. Totally different style. I'm not going to do another brown ale. I'm definitely going to keep this recipe, work on it, tweak it in the future. But I think the next beer, I think it's going to be a little lighter. Just a little lighter of a color. I won't tell you what it is yet, but it's going to be lighter. It's going to be a little bit opposite of what I just did with this Honest Brown. So with that said, guys, if you have any comments, questions, or beer styles you want to see me brew in the future, because I have 2 fermenters, I can do 2 at a time in a sense. Let me know down in the comment box below. Let me know some of the stuff you guys like to homebrew, or some of your more, not famous recipes, but recipes that have come out just spot on for yourselves. It'd be great to know any feedback, any recommendations of what I could have done differently, what I should do moving forward, maybe ways of how to, in a sense, filter the beer without getting a filtration unit, because I don't think that's feasible where I am right now. But any and all help or suggestions or recommendations would be greatly appreciated. So with all that said, guys, that's going to do it for me, mate Brewski. Like I always say, crack a beer and enjoy. Cheers. And thanks for coming on this journey with me.